So let's go now to a success story. Another one example is the Singapore NEWater success story. So NEWater, as we know, is the one of the sources of drinking water for Singapore. Is basically looks like this, and the reason for they have this process is because of their problem with water supply. So half of the country's water supply is actually imported from Malaysia. So they are not water secured. It means that they are depending on other country like Malaysia to supply them with water. Singapore is a very small country, though they don't have that much natural resources, so they get it from Malaysia for supply. There's the neighboring country. So there is at that time until this time actually is there's an immense need of local alternative source of water. Where can they get alternative source of water? So at present time, this time, recycled water constitutes 40% of their potable water supply in Singapore. This is based from recycled water. Of course, this is an indirect potable use. This is not direct potable use, but indirect potable use, but still is a very high 40%. And most of this NEWater that is produced is actually used for industry and commercial use as a non-potable use. So you can see from here they have different sources of their water. There is a sea, rain. They have also managing their stormwater. This is coming from the Public Utilities Board, their website that handles these processes. So their sources of water at this point are stormwater, rain, and sea. And then also they have the treated used water. So this one is coming from the wastewater. They get a little bit of a portion of that one to become NEWater. Okay, so this NEWater goes towards a reservoir, and this reservoir is stayed for some time, goes towards a treatment plant, and then goes towards the supply to the industry and home use. A little bit of a fraction of the water source is also from desalination at this point. But in any case, NEWater is an alternative water source that has been quite accepted by Singaporeans. This is an indirect potable use. So how does the treatment process for NEWater? So basically, they use a multi-barrier system using microfiltration, a pre-treatment for reverse osmosis. So coming from a treated used water, they go to the microfiltration, get all the big suspended parts, and then go towards the reverse osmosis for further purifying the water. And the purified water goes towards disinfection and then towards the supply of the NEWater. So this is mainly the process based on membrane technology, which will be discussed in these future classes. So what were the key challenges during that time? As I mentioned in our community acceptance factor, psychological fear is one. Basically, the perception of risk and the yuck factor are there. So what they did for this challenge is just they try to focus more on the provision, because Singaporeans are quite knowledgeable country. They are literate country. So people they know a lot of technologies and they have high literacy rate. So they focus more on treatment process regarding advanced membrane technologies instead of talking about which is the source, which is the wastewater. So they focus on the process itself, not on the source of the water. And then they make the process not very simple. When they explain the process, they use the layman's term. It means that they don't use technical words or very complicated diagrams, so that the common people will be able to understand more. So they're trying to put their shoes with the people's mind. So in this case, it means they make it as simple as possible for people not to be confused. And another challenge is the terminology. It has a negative connotation. So when you say wastewater or recycled water, it feels like it's coming from dirty water. So they used a better term for this one. And the better term for this one, as I mentioned, is instead of reclaimed water, they used NEWater, which is a nicer name, actually. Nobody will ever think that it's coming from wastewater. And the mindset change needed to get public to understand that water recycling was part of nature. So this one also, they have to give a lot of information drive that in fact what they are doing in terms of the treatment process is not so different with the natural process. In the natural process, we also have this reservoir that collects the water and store the water, like lakes and rivers, especially the lakes. They also make it as a sedimentation way to purify the water. So it's basically similar with what they are doing with the treatment process, but they're only speeding it up. So it means that instead of waiting for a very long time for nature to do its work, they are doing it in a faster rate based on new technology. So that's one way of changing the mindset of people. So some of the key to success of engaging the community was trying to communicate or engage with stakeholders by the key messages that their water that is produced from this treatment technology is actually very, very safe. It meets the World Health Organization drinking water guidelines. So it means that instead of focusing on the source, they focus on the treatment process and the quality of the water. So once they know the quality of water is very, very good, then there should be no question. And then if they will do this process, this water reuse, then the Singapore's situation will be more resilient, more water security. And I think this is very, very important for every Singaporean, that they don't need to depend on the supply of water from other countries. So once they understand the situation that this will help them for sustaining their own needs, then more Singaporeans were actually positively welcoming this change or this process. So they asked the help of media, opinion leaders, and public to disseminate the importance of the quality as well as the resilience message towards the public. And they make it into the different very good journals and magazines about their process and also their resilience plan. They ask the experts to validate what they have seen in their quality of their water. Very, very important aspect also that they did was to ask their leaders. They didn't ask the leaders, but the leaders themselves had the initiative to show to the public that the water that is produced from, or the new water that they have produced, is actually safe. Look at this. The previous Prime Minister of Singapore is drinking the new water in public. So he is showing that even himself, as the highest or the strongest or the most powerful person in Singapore, is not afraid to drink the water because he feels safe about it. So other leaders also did the same. So basically, showing this political support also made a good trust to the government. And besides, the people in Singapore trust their leaders. They have very, very strong leaders who can do things properly. So they have really high trust to the government, high trust to the leaders. That's why also they trust the process. Okay, and I mentioned about the choice of words as well as a way of branding. So another very good thing as a way of engaging people is the visitor center in a NEWater visitor center. So they built this purposely built like a museum to show the whole process of treatment. They can also taste the water, the product water, the different treatment processes, what has been what are the components of a wastewater until the time that the clean water was produced. They also involve the kids. It will be a field trip from the academic sector or education sector. So kids are also very engaged with this, and they bring the information home and explain to their parents. And so there was more information dissemination and public sampling as well with their leaders and the World Health Organization leaders as well, and see that everybody's enjoying and everybody is safe and healthy. So these are some of the activities that are quite very successful in convincing the whole public about their NEWater process.